Okay, so I'm going to be looking at the May 2019 question 6. Alright, so they gave us some information concerning a scale 1 to 25,000. Now, what does that mean? So, 1 cm, what that means is that 1 cm is equal to 25,000 cm, right? That's what that information is telling me. Now, in order to Now this 25,000 cm is that's the 25,000 is a big number. So we need to convert that to kilometers because they want actual distance in kilometers, right? So 1 cm is equal to 25,000 cm. To convert that into meters, I divide by 100. So this will be 250, but that will give me my distance in meters. So 1 cm is 250 meters. Now I can convert that to kilometers by dividing by 1,000. So 1 cm is equal to, if I divide this by 1,000, I'm going to get 0.25 kilometers, right? And this is what I'm going to use to work my question now. So I know that 1 cm is equal to 0.25 kilometers. So therefore 0.5 cm is simply equal to 0.5 multiplied by 0.25, right, which will give me 0.125 kilometers, right? So that's my answer for the first part. Now they want the actual area in kilometers squared, represented by 2.25 cm squared on the map. Now, how do we do that? So, one 1 cm squared on the map is equal to, now remember 1 cm is equal to 0.25 kilometers, right? So 1 cm squared is simply equal to 0.25 squared kilometer, right? That's what that means. So I want to convert 2.25 cm squared into kilometers squared. So we know that 1 cm squared is equal to 0.25 squared kilometers squared. And I want to convert 2.25. So 2.25 cm squared. To convert that to kilometers squared, all I have to do is to multiply 2.25 multiplied by 0.25 squared in kilometers squared, right? And if you work that out, that will give me, that is 0.1406 kilometers squared, right? They didn't say how many significant figures with decimal places, so I'll just stop at 4. So it's 0.1406 kilometers squared. Alright. Now for part B now, they told us that we have two cylindrical jars, jar X and jar Y, as this one and this one. And they said initially jar Y is empty and X contains water to a height of 4 cm. Right? And they also give us some information about the diameters. So they want, what is the volume of jar X? Right? Now the volume of a cylinder is simply pi r squared each. That's the volume of a cylinder, right? What did they tell us here? So the volume of cylinder X was the radius. All right, so jar X has a diameter. Now notice here, it's diameter they have. So the diameter is 3D, sorry, right? So my radius, if my diameter is 3D, then my radius is 3D. I have to divide by 2 squared multiplied by the height. The height in this case for jar X is 4. Right? So that'll give me pi. When I square this, I'm going to get 3 3s are 9 d squared over 4 multiply by 4. This 4 will cancel with this, so I'll end up with 9 pi d squared, right, as my volume of the water, right? And that unit will be cm cubed because volume. All right. Right, so that's the volume there. Then in part 2 now, they said if all the water in the jar is now poured into Y. So we just worked out the volume, right? That is, so the volume of the water in jar X is 9 pi d squared. So V is equal to 9 pi d squared, right? That's the volume in X. And they told us that it's now poured into jar Y. Calculate the height. So the volume of the water when we pour it into jar Y is going to be pi r squared h, right? Now we know the volume of the water is going to be 9 pi d squared, right? And the radius of jar Y, they told us it was d, right? That's the diameter, sorry, is d. So the radius of jar Y is d over 2 squared multiplied by the height, right? And what you're really trying to work out now, you're trying to work out h. That's essentially what you're trying to do, right? So we have an equation here. So we have 9 pi d squared is equal to, this will be pi multiplied by d squared over 4 multiplied by h, right? So that is really 9 pi d squared is equal to pi d squared over 4 h. Now you have pi d squared here and you have pi d squared here. So if we divide both sides of my equation by pi d squared, I'm going to end up with 9 is equal to h over 4. Then therefore h is equal to 9 multiplied by 4, and therefore h is equal to 36 cm. All right.